session. I'm Sina Christ. I'm the presider. I will also be presenting a little bit later, so I'll be wearing multiple hats today. But for those of you joining us on the live stream, you can put in your questions or any chat in the Q&A tabs or the chat tabs. I will try and be monitoring that for the presenters and ask questions after the talks. Each presenter will have 15 minutes to give their talk, and then we'll have 5 minutes for questions. I did not think about how I'm going to give warnings on Zoom. Maybe I'll put a 2-minute warning in the chat for anyone who's presenting as we're timing. I'll try and keep us on schedule. Other than that, I think we are ready to go. Thank you to all of the tech support for making this possible. So I'll hand it over to our first presenter.
Thank you very much. I welcome everyone all over the world, the NARST community, my colleagues, and most importantly, my sincere gratitude to my teacher and mentor, the distinguished Professor Emeritus Peter Akinshola Okebukola, OFR. My name is, can I hear you? My name is Olasukomi Gbeleyi, and my co-authors are Peter Okebukola, Ibukun Ademola, and the others that you can see on the screen. The title of this study is Heartbreak for Underachievement, Perspective of Cultural Techno-Contextual Approach on Student Achievement and Critical Thinking Skill in Computer Studies. The context, of course, is Africa, Nigeria, Lagos. The center is Lagos State University, Africa Center of Excellence for Innovative and Transformative STEM Education, LASU ACC. On my right-hand side, you can see the different ethnic groups that speaks over 500 different languages with diverse culture and exhibit unique culture. The problem that this study intended to solve are related to the declining performance of students in computer study in our schools and the public examination, testing the efficacy of the CTCA as the normal teaching methods are no longer effective. Also, there's need to intervene, else Africa have or will have to be producing semi-skilled human resources in high-CT professions. Research questions in these studies are just two. The first one, is there statistically significant difference in the achievement of and critical thinking skill of students taught logic gates using CTCA and the lecture method? While the second is taking the perspective of students on the method CTCA. Theoretical framework and philosophical framework with the 5 orientation of the CTCA. Vygotsky theory of social constructivism fits into step 1, 2, 3, and 5. And step 1, 4, and 5 relate well with Oswald theory, Okebukola eco-technocultural theory, and the Piaget learning theory. The relevant philosophies in the CTCA are those backed by Kwame Nkrumah, ethnophilosophy for culture, and Martin Heidegger, technophilosophy for technology. The method was conducted in 2 phases. The first phase was a survey on difficult concepts in computer studies. There are over 1,000 junior secondary students for this from 2 West African countries, Ghana and Nigeria, from private and public school. Data were collected via questionnaire and the interview. Featuring the culture, technology, and emails, and the content in the delivery of every lesson, the following steps are from the CTCA. The first steps in the process is the teacher, first of all, inform the students ahead of time on the topic to be learned in class. Ask each student to reflect on the indigenous knowledge or cultural practices and beliefs associated with the topic logic gate. The second step, at the start of the lesson and after the introduction by the teacher, the students are grouped into mixed ability, mixed sex groups to share individual reflection on step 1. While in step 3, the teacher progresses with the lesson, drawing practical example from the immediate surrounding. And as the lesson progresses in the step 4, misconceptions associated with the cultural belief that the student brought from their homes are all cleared by the teacher. And the last steps, that is the close of the lesson, the teacher for the first time, the very first time, sent maximum of 320 character summary of the lesson, 2 pages via SMS of the student or WhatsApp of all the students. And thereafter, this group captain is given that opportunity to do that on behalf of the class. Procedure for the phase 2. The second phase was a quasi-experimental, where a sequential mixed method research design was adopted. Over 200 junior secondary school, 2 equivalent of grade 7 took part in the study. The achievement, the logic gate achievement test and the critical thinking test were the instruments used. Examples, here are some examples of the samples that we use in the program. Then examples of indigenous concepts used in logic gates is what we can see on the screen. Some of these examples are affiliated to some findings in the environment. Fitila, for example, is equivalent to power. Ifilele oko is comparable to the computer motherboard. Eja ojigi, mind the way I pronounce it, eja fish, ojigi equivalent to electric shock. And ewe padimo, the sensitive leap, comparable to the binary codes of zeros and one. Here are some pictures of members of the research teams and the students. The students are seen on the field during the qualitative part of the study, the delivery of the topic in the class by the teacher, and so on. Findings from the quasi-experimental phase. For the first research question, preliminary test shows that the data satisfy the assumption of homogeneity of variance, which is P greater than 0.05. Shapiro, which test was also of normal for both groups, was also, and it indicated that P is greater than 0.05. In the proceeding of the analysis, since random assignment to the experimental and the control group was not achieved, the Markova, that is multivariate analysis of variance, was applied on the achievement and the critical thinking skills of the students with the pre-test scores as covariate. The result shows a statistically significant difference in the methods used, and the result is what we can see on the screen. Results from the qualitative aspect of the study, that is the second research question, we sought to find the perception of students or potency of CTCA in breaking barrier to the learning of logic gate. One of the students said it was quite difficult at the beginning, but at the end, he was able to cut up, and this is not comparable with what they have been having. And some other pseudonyms and their comment is what we have on the screen. Why? The reason for better performance of this CTCA group, that is the cultural technical contextual approach, some students were able to see that the indigenous knowledge and the cultural practice are directly or indirectly related to the topic. Students came already aware of some of these reference points on the cultural that they have discussed with their parents, with their uncles, with their auntie, and other things related to the group, the grouping in the class, that is mixability, were done in the class, mixed groups were done in the class to share knowledge on the reflection of that step one. The discussion of the result, comparable trends of what we can see on the result were found from previous as seen on the screen, with CTCA promoting meaningful learning in computer studies and same concept. Conclusion and recommendations. The findings of these studies can contribute to unlocking difficult concepts in computer study, like logic gates that students perceive difficult. Then secondly, it provides computer studies teachers in Africa and all over the world with a possible tool teaching methods within cultural relevant and technological proven texts. What next? From my right hand side, you can see the table of the difficult concepts that we got from our first study. We have flowchart being the first one, going to the last one. Yes, some of my members of my group, like Gbeleyi, have been working on some of these topics before I pick logic game, which is the seventh one. So for the next thing or future plan for this group, further testing of the effectiveness of CTCA in another difficult concept in computer study will be back upon. Then also we'll be looking at gender equity and anxiety to logic gate. Here are my references. For questions and for other information, you can get more from the site of the CTCA.approach.com, and here are my emails. Thank you very much for listening.
Right, thank you. Thank you for the applause from the room. We have about 5 minutes for questions. So if there are any questions from folks on the live stream, feel free to put them on Slido. Are there any questions in the room?
No, I started without video.
Yeah, can I make an intervention? I'd like to commend the presenter, Olasunkanmi Gbeleyi, for very wonderful research and presentation. Can you tell us what Logic Gate is all about? And why you think students find Logic Gate difficult? Are there some inherent characteristics of that concept that make it difficult for students to learn? Actually, it's the number 7 on your list.
Thank you very much, sir. Logic gates simply means the building blocks of all electronic gadgets. So hardly you find any electronic gadget without embedded logic gate circuit inbuilt there. So the logic gate is simply difficult as a result of how the teachers have been teaching it. And the context that makes the student wow in the class is simply look at the ifilele oko, that is the arrangement of flower beds, how it is done, related to the motherboard. If you see the excitement of these children on the field, and also comparing the sensitive leaf. When we touch the sensitive leaf, it opens. When you touch it again, it closes. And that was used to compare the zeros and one in the binary settings of the computer. So the students, even after the lesson, the parents keep calling me, they want to be part of the class. I hope I've answered your question. Thank you,
Oh, yes,
sir.
you have. I also want to be part of your class so I can learn about Logic Gates.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not seeing any questions on Slido. Are there any other questions from people in the Zoom room?
Yeah, I have a question. There was a, right near the end then, a sort of forward-looking for next steps, additional projects that might be forthcoming. Could you comment a little bit on those? What do you think is most perhaps interesting or novel for next steps in the research?
Thank you very much. Like I explained in the narration of the study, we have a research teams, and my members are here. Agbanimu Deborah is here, Oladejo Kunle is here. And some of them have been working on this. So during our survey, we didn't just come up with any topic. We had to draw a questionnaire and we gave it to the students in Ghana and in Nigeria. So in analysis, we were able to get the ranking. So from 1 to 6, other team members have done justice to it. And students all over where we did that are happy for it. So the next one that we are looking at is any of those topics, depending on the one I will pick. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to support him, we have a long list, like it should, as you mentioned, of the difficult concepts, and this is number 7. So the idea is to go on to number 8, number 9, and so on, so that we have a good perspective, broad spectrum of how these difficult concepts can be tackled.
Right, and Fred, I see you have your hand up. Do you have a question?
Yes, thank you very much. It's not a question, it's a contribution. I'm a member of the team. Just to emphasize that this is an African-wide study, and we have implemented CTCA in Ghana, Nigeria, Burundi, and then Cote d'Ivoire. There's a Ghanaian study that complements his study using the cultural techno-contextual approach in the area of the studies of public administration. It is already published in one of the top-notch journals in public administration, that is Teaching Public Administration, and I've shared it here. I've shared the reference to that paper so that people who are interested in digging deep into the concept of CTCA and also replicating it in their jurisdictions may use that complementing what my colleague has presented as benchmarks for the studies in other parts of the world. I just thought I should share this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Fred, I noticed that I got an email from you that today is your birthday. So many happy returns. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you, Fred. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. And on that note, I think we'll move on to our second presenter. So thank you all for sharing your work. And let's see, Yachun Chen, if you are here and can share your screen.